Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, today we are doing a fun fold card, and this might be, as far as I go for fun fold cards, I like simplicity. I don't love a whole lot of measuring. So today is going to be one of those ones with a little bit of measuring, but I promise it's not too bad. So I'm going to cut down a 4 1/4 by 11 piece for my card base. Now let's just strip your piece down the middle. That's half of your piece. Now on this trimmer, this is one of my favorite parts about this trimmer because I can just use the scoring blade. It has a scoring blade and a cutting blade. So the white one is the scoring blade. You want to score at 5 1/2 inches, 6 3/4, 8 3/4, and 10 inches. Now these are all on the screen for you. So if you want, when you create this, then pause the video at those measurements so that you can make sure you get it right. If you want to, I am using the other piece that I cut off just here, and this is going to be the other card front panel. Now, all we want is 5 5/8 by 2 3/4. So this is one that you cut. This is going to be the card front panel, and for this one, we want to score this one as well, and this is the last bit of measuring that we kind of have to do for this. You want to score at 3/8 of an inch, and then 1 5/8. And just because it's easier for me, just for that little score one, I do that on one side and then I flip it around. But it doesn't matter, you just do at 3/8 and then 1 5/8. However you feel most comfortable doing that. And then that is all the scoring and cutting we need to do. Now I'm just going to I'm just going to bend all of those score lines just so that you can get an image of how this is going to go. This truly is really, really simple, and especially if you're going to make a few of these, I just bulk do them. I actually did a fair few of these because they fold down completely flat. So I can't remember if I've said it, but this is the pop-up front step panel fun fold card. So this is going to come around and create that little step at the front there, and this all folds completely flat for an envelope. So that's how it's going to sit in a minute. Now, as I said, here are the options. You could, without any measuring, you could use ink and stencils and, do all sorts of fun things on those panels so that they are decorated. I'm going to choose to use some patterned paper. This is the Stamperia The Precious collection. This is the paper pad. It's an 8x8 paper pad. I'm really enjoying the Stamperia products at the moment, and I tend to just buy, even though there is a whole beautiful range, I tend to limit myself just because I find this much, much easier for my brain to sort of, work along with. So I have the paper pad, and then I have a little pack of the ephemera, and that's it. And I really love creating with them. On the little panel that will go on the front panel here that I have cut out from that paper pad, I'm going to stamp this little sentiment. It says "Get well soon," and this is from the Vibrant Sentiments stamp set from Gina that I had gotten recently and absolutely loved the sentiments. Now I did cut this one apart so that I could stack it one on top of the other, but that's absolutely fine. I'm going to do it in some Versamark sticky embossing ink, and then put some white superfine embossing powder over top. Now I actually have my heat gun at a different plug, so I'm going to pop away and do this, but from here it's not very vibrant, but this is the thing I love when you've heat set it and it's all melted. It's pretty good. Now this is a small sentiment, so we have to work to make this work for us, stand out. So I have all of my little panels. As I said, I chose to use the paper pad to decorate my panels. You could ink them up. You could do whatever you wish. And so all I did was measure each one of the little panels. Once I had the folds in, I measured it and then just cut them. And I did it so that it was 1/4 of an inch smaller on, two sides, so the top and the side. And that meant it has a 1/8 of an inch, give or take, border all up around. Then I decided, this is an old technique, but I decided to come in with my vintage photo distress oxide and go around the outside of all of those little pattern paper things. Now, this is where I said I have the ephemera. So this is the only other coordinating thing that I have with the Precious paper pad. As you will have seen in some of my previous videos, if I buy one or so thing that goes together, so like 2 of the items from the thing, it doesn't matter what it is. There is beautiful sticker sheets, there is beautiful paper packs, there is beautiful die cuts, there's ephemera, there are sticky back ephemera ones, all sorts. There's and I find it doesn't matter what combination I have. If I just purchase 2, then I can usually make an amazing amount of cards pretty quickly, and this just helps that I don't have to do everything from scratch. It takes a little bit of the pressure off when I don't have the time, and it also makes me feel as though I don't have to buy the really expensive stamps and dies, and I can buy a little ephemera pack like this for, say $5 or how much it was, and I can put together these beautiful cards without feeling all of the pressure to have all of those different coloured inks, all of the different coloured stencils to make them look perfect, then the dies to die cut them all out and all those sorts of things. So this really helps me with my creativity anyhow. So we are going to put this box together, this little panel here, the front step. This is where the glue needs to go. This is the panel of glue, and I'm going to sort of lie this flat to adhere, and that way I know it's in exactly the right place. So you will be able to have a play around with it. You'll absolutely see how the card is meant to go, how the box is meant to go. So fold it flat, and then just make sure that none of your glue is in places it shouldn't be. Don't put too much on so it doesn't spread out to another place. But I just hold this in for a few seconds, and then you can see that this has created the perfect box for the front. So that was super easy. It's not as complex as it originally looks. Then this is where I take all of my pieces that I have. This is from the Precious Paper Pad. I've done nothing to these except cut them 1/4 inch smaller than the measurements of the scored square. And then I have added that little bit of ink around the outside. Super, super simple for me. Then just making sure I've got all of my panels in the right place, and then trying to figure out when I was looking at the words which way around this goes, which way is up. But I can just make sure that these are all glued down nicely. Make sure I have glue right to the corners so there's no ends or anything sticking up. And I am using the Art glitter glue at the moment. I have some thoughts on it I will share at some point. And then this is the other panel. As I said, super, super simple. All of these little pieces are all from the same paper pad, and this just means that things are going to coordinate really nicely. Again, taking the thinking out of it for me helps. And I am using the Gina K Innocent Pink heavyweight cardstock, which is great for a fun fold card like this. Now this is the basics. From here is the basics. Now this again it will all come to you when you sort of have it in your hands and you're playing, and you want to adhere this little flap down at the top, this little piece that we have hanging down there. It's relatively obvious where it should go, and we want that second fold up there to line up with the top of the card. So whatever way your brain works to sort of make that in place, whether you want to fold it down and stick it on, we just need to know that that line up the top needs to measure up with the top of the card. And this is just so that everything, you can see there I'm lining up the top of the card with that second fold, everything folds flat when we put this in an envelope. So I just hold it there for a few seconds, make sure it's in the right place. And remember, we've only glued that tiny little flap down the bottom. So when this comes down, it'll actually pull down further, and then we can adhere just that, you just want to do the end here. We don't want to go too far up, and this is going to fold down and adhere onto there, and then we are done. Now this is super, super fun to put together. I really enjoyed creating this first one, and so then I went ahead and created lots of these. So really, really simple. As I said, I don't love a whole lot of measurements. I don't love having to, really work hard to think where things should go. Often as a mum with young kids, I feel like my brain is out of gear half of the time trying to remember everything and make sure I've got everything sorted. So measurements are not my forte, and that's okay. So we find ways around that, and this is one of them. Now these are some of those elements from the ephemera pack. I'm going to cut these so that they don't stick up above where the envelope should be. I'm still going to be able to fit this in my envelope. I actually made my own envelope for this one just because it was a little bit more bulky, but then I put it in a standard envelope afterwards and it still fit. So I probably could have gotten away with just using one of those, but I enjoy making my own envelopes as well. And I actually just made it out of the same paper pad so that everything again matched. Now this one we are just adjusting. As I said, take off a layer of those petals. You still have that beautiful flower. No one would guess that you've actually trimmed it down and made it smaller. I just want everything to be able to fit within that front panel, and this is the fun thing. Just keep folding it, keep pressing it down so that you know when it goes in the envelope it's going to fit. If you are gifting this card in a little gift box or in a hamper or something like that, then go for gold. Make all of the things stick off in all of the places, and that will be beautiful as well. Give it a good flex in all directions to make sure it's going to pop up right when the recipient takes it out of the envelope. But there we go, this beautiful pop-up front step panel fun fold card. Thank you so much for joining me today. All of the supplies will be linked down below, of course. And other than that, here are some videos that you may also like at the end of this one. I'll see you next time. Bye.